Hi, my name is Hillary Goodspeed, and I think you want to make a book, so let's make a book together. I make books on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I have made a lot of books and have been through this process many times, so I am going to walk you through the stages that I go through each time I make a book or zine. And by zine, I mean a small self-published thing that shares an idea. It could be artwork, it could be writing, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't even have to be a printed book, although that is what we will be making here today. Before we get started on making this, we should consider the history of the zine or self-published booklet. I am not going to pretend to know what the first zine ever made was, but it was probably made several thousand years ago and written on a piece of papyrus. And I should probably also say that the invention of the printing press was huge for zines, and maybe back then they wouldn't have called them zines and would be confused if you started to talk about a zine because they had just invented printing. But they probably would have really been excited by hearing you talk about the future in which we will all be able to produce small books. I mean, once you explained what books were. Zines have been used in modern times to share ideas, spread information, and empower groups and individuals. There have been notable eras where zine culture has flourished and been exceptionally popular. However, books have always been made by people who are having experiences and want to share those experiences with other people. Finding an idea for your zine is the next step in this process. Sometimes you have to search for an idea, sometimes it just comes to you. I find that it helps to go outside, to go for a walk, to take the bus, go for a bike ride, and just notice what's going on around you. You will see things, you will hear things which will manipulate your brain in weird ways you will not understand, but may produce an idea or remind you of something that you had once thought about. There are a lot of possibilities here. You can do more formal research, you can just wander around, read a book, listen to music. There's no rule for ideas and how to get them. You just kind of do what you enjoy doing and the ideas will come to you. This is my favorite step in the whole process, and you will spend a lot of time here any and every time you are looking for a creative idea or solution. Most creative people spend quite a lot of time chilling in the inspiration zone, which is cool. It's a good place to be. Once you have a good idea for a booklet, there are other things you need to consider about the physical book you are making. So you have the idea, you have, the material with which you will fill the book. But you also need to think about the size, how big this thing is going to be. You are going to also have to think about how you're printing it. Often I do make mock-ups of books that are exceptionally complicated, just so I can see how it fits and how I have to lay things out when I'm making the zine on the computer and assembling things that I have scanned into the computer. You are thinking about the types of ink you are printing with, as well as the weight and color of the paper you are printing on. I personally like to use a thicker paper for the cover and just a normal weight paper on the inside. And then there's the binding of the book. So there are 1,000 ways that you can bind something. You can use staples, you can use a sewing machine, you can break out the needle and thread and hand stitch the book, which is one of my favorite ways to bind. There are many techniques out there, and I myself have only tried a few, but find a way that works for your purposes or create a new way to put your book together. At this point, the book should be coming together within your mind. You have the idea, you have the thoughts about how the book will appear in the physical sense, and now you have to go about actually creating the material which will fill the pages of your book. So you are drawing, you're writing, you are talking to people, you're going out with a pad of paper and a pencil. Your desk is a total mess. You have collage elements everywhere. There's dried out paint open on the shelf. You are exploring all of the possibilities that exist within your idea. You are in a Tasmanian devil cloud of creative energy. You are making and destroying many times over until you finally end up with the version of the thing that you are happy with. This is another great part about making a book, and I can also spend a lot of time here just rehashing ideas and seeing how they evolve, how they change, and turn into new ideas that you didn't even have when you first began working on the book. Some people enjoy making books in a totally analog way, using scissors and glue sticks and photocopiers. I have enjoyed doing that and have had success with that, but also use computers to make my books. If you choose to use a computer, there are many programs out there which you can utilize to help create your book. I enjoy going to the library and using their facilities and software. It is worth looking around where you live and seeing what kind of services are available to you. Figuring out how to format the pages of your book so that they print in the correct order and orientation can be tough. This is where having a mock-up will come in handy. Usually if you figure it out and you plan to continue making zines in that same size and those same dimensions, you don't have to go through this process more than once. In all the time I have spent making books, I have learned that no two printers are the same. And I have spent untold hours doing tests, experimenting with the printers, flipping pages upside down the other way around, flipping pages in the document in which I'm printing. Again, there is a learning curve, and it can be frustrating, but it is also very satisfying when everything finally does turn out correct. No pages are upside down or cut off. It all does come together if you take the time to stick with it and figure it out. Once everything has been printed, it is time to assemble your book. This is when you need to gather your tools, your bone score, your X-Acto knife, your scissors, and you need to begin the physical part of folding, of trimming, of doing all of these things which will result in your final product. Again, this stage does take some experimentation, and it takes time to figure out what works and what is best for you in terms of the methods that you're employing to create your book. And once you have found the best method and you do it a couple times, it does get easier. So the more you do it, the more natural everything gets, and you don't have to think about it so much. Now your book is complete, and it is your job to get it into the hands of others. You can sell it, you can give it away, you can leave it in record stores and coffee shops, you can give it to your friends on their birthdays. Do whatever you can to get it out there. And once it is out there, people will read it, and you will have made the world a better place by producing a book and sharing it. And you can do it again. There's no limit to how many books you can make. I just keep making them. I keep getting ideas, and that's kind of the wonderful thing about books, is that there can never be too many.